Welcome to Fantasy Plus. We're here. It's week 3. We're looking ahead. Got a lot of injuries. I was day-to-day for a couple reports, but Adam Schefter said I would be here. And also joining me are Alec Giannakopoulos and Jack Doles. Guys, it was a tough week 3. We got some injuries and some boom and bust players.
Yeah, my whole team's a bust right now. Imagine that.
You know, I just want to use this time to open the show by saying I'm the only person in the sports office with a win under my belt. And, hopefully my colleagues can pick up the slack a little bit.
We'll pick it up.
Yes.
Especially when we play out.
So concerns all across the league. We got Joe Burrow. He's out for at least 3 months with a turf toe, which is worse than it sounds.
It's such a fun name for a terrible injury, yeah.
Tearing ligaments and all that in your foot. Austin Eckler is done for the season with an Achilles. Justin Fields is out with a concussion. Jaden Daniels has a knee. He's day-to-day. Keep an eye on all these reports, especially if they're on your team. And then J.J. McCarthy is out possibly next week as well as this week. And then Aaron Jones got put on the 4-game IR, also with a hamstring.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Concerns.
I have 3 teams, Aaron.
Yeah.
You named 2 of my quarterbacks. So I've got some work to do. Some waiver wires, maybe start making some trade offers, see if I can fleece Alec. But it's
no fleece zone.
And think about the Joe Burrow injury, just the repercussions that has. I'm a little happier that I didn't take Jamar Chase with the number 1 overall pick in the Wood TV League. Went with Bijan, but Bijan's not exactly getting a ton of touches there. I think he'll get better as the year goes on, but all I know is I'm 0-2 right now.
Well, if you want to get into it already with Burrow, I think I wouldn't panic if I'm a Chase holder because he did work well with Browning before. That's the backup. He'll be out there for 3 months. I don't know if the offense as a whole is going to be as, dynamic as it is with Joe out. Probably not. But I think if you're a Jamar Chase holder, you're probably still all right because Browning came in and still targeted your guy. I still think he's a safe receiver 1.
When he took over in 2023 for Joe when he was out for a couple of days, he hyper-targeted Jamar Chase. So if you're Jamar Chase, you're not as worried if you're an owner. But T. Higgins, I would be concerned.
I'm worried.
If you have one of those tight ends, I'd be concerned as well.
Yeah, he also threw 3 picks in that game. They won, but that's not a recipe for continuing wins.
Sure.
No, let's get ready for Thursday night, huh? Miami, Buffalo, big game in the AFC East.
Big game if you want to pick a survivor pick too. That's kind of how we've been handling this one.
This is such a Thursday night matchup.
It's week 3 and we're already getting one of the best teams against one of the worst. I think it will do. I think fantasy will be good to owners of both sides of the ball here. I think the Dolphins defense is the Dolphins defense and the Bills are the Bills. So I would feel good about starting any Bills. But also, guys, don't forget there are 2 key injuries, and I believe both Oliver and Milano on that Bills defense who are out. And that Bills defense already struggles against the pass. So it's probably a good time to fire up starters on either team for fantasy purposes.
So do you go, say you lost your quarterback, do you go and get Tua for a game like this if he's sitting there out?
Yeah, if you're desperate, I would say pull the trigger on Tua. It all depends on who's on the waivers. You can do a lot worse, though, because, again, this Bills passing defense, it's their biggest weakness. And I think it's a great chance for you to start a guy who not only who is going to face against not a great unit, but also they're probably going to lose that game. So they're probably going to be down, and they're probably going to be passing the ball a lot. So I think it bodes well if you want to emergency start Tua, if you have one of those quarterbacks that hit the IR this week.
Tua and the Dolphins have been down a lot lately.
Yeah, and they will be all season, really.
Yeah. The line started at 12.5, and it's now to 11.5 for the Bills as of Wednesday.
Doesn't surprise me, yeah.
With an over-under of 49.5.
And I think they
Tua or Trevor Lawrence? There's not a lot of good quarterbacks on the waiver.
Trevor.
And that's another thing, too. There hasn't been a lot of great quarterback play this year. I mean, fantasy-wise, if you have a mobile quarterback, you have a mobile quarterback. But it's been kind of a slower start than even we're going to give seasons and teams credit for because it's been...
Yeah, Allen was fantastic in week 1. Nothing last week.
Yeah, right. It's been a kind of bit of a slower start. So Tua's not a bad option. Lawrence, if you want. I mean, it's kind of a tough year at first for quarterbacks.
And Scott Larson has a look at the Thursday night game and more for this week's weather impacts. Take it away, Scott.
Kicking off week 3 of the NFL season as the Dolphins are going to be taking on the Buffalo Bills up in Orchard Park, New York. Partly cloudy skies, pretty mild for that kickoff. Temperature of 74 degrees on Prime Video. Here's a look at some of the Sunday matchups now. The Packers will be taking on the Cleveland Browns. Pretty nice weather there in Northeast Ohio, mostly sunny, a temperature in the mid-70s, mid-80s. Meanwhile, for the Colts taking on the Tennessee Titans down in Nashville. Pretty warm for that game. Same story as you move toward the Jets and Buccaneers. So conditioning could become a factor with that kickoff temperature close to 90 degrees and the chance of some rain. You can also see that we'll have the battle of the backup quarterbacks there between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Minnesota Vikings. That matchup will be taking place indoors. Looking at some of the afternoon events, you can see that we have the Broncos facing off against the Chargers. That'll be in SoFi Stadium. Temperature of 65 degrees and some rain showers as the Saints take on the Seahawks later into the afternoon. Dallas Cowboys versus the Chicago Bears there along the lakefront. Partly cloudy skies, temperature of 77. Looking at some very warm temperatures there in San Francisco, 80 degrees, mostly sunny. And finishing off Sunday night as the Chiefs look to take on the New York Giants. We also will be finishing off the weekend on Monday Night Football with Detroit. They'll be facing off against the Baltimore Ravens. And there in Maryland, a temperature of 70 degrees, mostly clear. The wind could become a factor, so if you're playing Tyler Loop or Jake Bates, make sure to account for that in the kicking game.
All right, thanks, Scott. Hopefully we'll keep an eye on the weather there in Baltimore between the Lions and the Ravens.
You know what, though? I will say this. I don't think Dan Campbell's going to shy away from Bates at all, no matter the weather. I think he seems to be a guy who loves his guys, so unless it's a hurricane out there, and I don't think he's going to be hesitant or be shy about rolling his kicker out there.
Yeah, he usually, that's the last resort at all times for him.
It's true.
He's more interested in getting that extra first down, in scoring that touchdown. I don't think he'll worry too much about wind with Jared Goff throwing.
That's true.
And with the weapons the Lions have. But I also think, no matter how windy it is, Lamar is a really good option, especially against a Lions team who always struggles against a mobile quarterback like that.
And that takes us into the rest of week 3. There's some good games on this slate, but there's also some games I'm staying away from. How about you guys?
I would play
fantasy-wise.
Yeah, fantasy-wise, I would play everybody I could possibly play in that Bears-Cowboys game. I would play everyone.
Right.
The Cowboys just let up, 40 points to the Giants?
Yeah.
The Bears have let up 70 points to both the Vikings and the Lions. Both teams seem to have some strides in offense. Play everybody. I think the over-under's at like 54 points. If you have George Pickens, if you have CeeDee Lamb, don't even consider it. If you have Roma Dunze, if there is a receiver or quarterback on either team that you have, that to me is my money game of the week. I think there's going to be so many points coming from both sides.
I think you're right. I'm also curious to see if the Giants' defense is as bad as they looked against Dallas.
Sure.
So maybe this is the week Kansas City gets right.
Right.
Boy, that Giants team.
But
New York.
I know
New
we
York
don't.
football.
I know we don't focus on defenses a lot, but you've got 2 backup quarterbacks in the Cincinnati, Minnesota game. You've got Fields has been ruled out in the New York Jets, Tampa Bay Bucks game.
Yeah.
Bucks have a good defense, and then you got Jaden Daniels questionable. You're probably not starting the Raiders defense, but the Bucks defense could be a go there.
Yeah, it's a good
If
time to
you're-
play the
if you're streaming.
matchup.
Yeah.
You know, look for those backups. I mean, I would shy away to a degree when we're talking about the Vikings. I think that team is still pretty well gelled, that no matter who's under center, they've shown that they can score points. But yeah, always keep an eye out if a quarterback's down or struggling and try to stream that defense if you can.
I know what you're saying with Minnesota, but they've played 7 bad quarters this year.
It's true.
They had 1 good quarter against the Bears.
That doesn't
so
surprise
I'm
me
not
either.
real sold on Minnesota at this point.
But if that offense is going to look good, it's going to look good against the Bengals defense.
I think the Green Bay defense will look really good this week.
Right.
Because Cleveland's playing a guy who should have been retired 5 years ago, and they've got nothing. So I like Green Bay's defense this week.
And you got Daniel Jones, who's been lighting it up. The Colts have yet to punt this season.
I was going to say.
Now they get to play the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
I mean, is it New York that's that bad of a place? The Giants.
Right.
That Daniel Jones comes out like this.
It's
Yeah.
week 2,
I
week
know.
3 at the same time. I remember I'm old enough to recall when Trevor Siemian was the hot fantasy pickup because he led the Broncos to 3 wins. I think it's a matter of time until.
Cats.
Okay, well, I'm not going to endorse that.
Is
But I
there
think
an
it's
Iowa quarterback who's had a week like that?
You know what?
At any point in the
All right,
NFL
let's
or
go
in
there,
college?
Jack. How many Northwestern tight ends are out there? All right, tight end you.
Well,
all right,
we had
don't forget it.
superbacks.
Superbacks. You guys were just making
Northwestern had
things up now.
superbacks back in the day.
Yeah, now they're losing to Tulane by 30. I would say, just looking overall, just like I think it's a matter of time until Daniel Jones and that team falls to earth. But if it's against Tennessee, I have no issue playing everyone. Warren is a top 5 tight end right now. And what Jones has been able to do has been very impressive to start the season. So I don't think it's going to fall off here, but I think it will eventually fall off.
Looking at this Sunday afternoon slate, you got the Chargers, who have 3 viable wide receivers that might be in your starting lineups, going against Denver.
The Chargers are looking pretty good.
Right.
I think we're seeing now that, love him or hate him, Jim Harbaugh can coach.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he just wins
Yeah.
everywhere he goes. And the Chargers, remember a couple of years ago before he got there, how are the Chargers going to find a way to lose this game? Always one of the most talented teams that can never find ways to win. No, all they're doing is winning.
Right.
And, that's without their starting left tackle who's gone for the year. I'll be curious to see how this team evolves. They're putting way more on Justin Herbert's shoulders than they did the last couple of years. So, I think a lot of people went into this fantasy draft thinking, I don't want Justin Herbert on my team. And now they're kind of going, I should have taken a late flyer on him.
Yeah.
Fantasy-wise, I think this is your test if you're holding Chargers players, where it's like, yep, had a pretty good offense those first 2 weeks. Now you see a very good secondary in Denver. If they do well here, it's a set and forget kind of thing, because if they can perform well against a really talented defense and a really good group of corners, then you're good. So this is a really good, I would say, like bellwether time for those players that you hold on your team.
It's also a really good defensive team. It's coming off a horrible defensive game.
True.
So, Denver's going to be very motivated for this one. So that should be a really good afternoon ball game on Sunday. That one I'd set aside time and watch.
Definitely, yeah. I'll be watching the Seahawks try to beat the Saints at home. On the 1 o'clock slate, sorry, skipping back over to there, you got Rams. If you got Rams on your team, are you concerned about this Eagles defense that seems to be lights out?
Yeah, a little. I still think like there are some must-start guys you kind of just start every week. Your Kyron Williams, your Devontae
Sure.
Adams. But Puka, yeah, I do pause a little bit, though, when it comes against this talented of a defense. But at the same time, when your guys are performing, I think a way to lose fantasy is to overthink things and to go like, oh, yeah, they've been good so far, but next week's going to be a challenge, so let's move things around. Sometimes it's easy to set and forget, and I don't think the Rams, especially with how talented their coaches, their personnel is, have really given me any reason to think like, I'm going to make these main guys, matchup dependent.
Your main guys you're going to put in there. If
Yeah.
you got a Puka, it doesn't matter who you're playing.
Right.
Puka's in your starting lineup. And if you start pulling him for a better matchup against a guy who...
You're losing your mind if you are. Yeah.
You're overthinking it.
Remember, week 1's weird. Week 2's informational. Now we kind of got some ideas. Now we can start moving forward. Okay, here we go. Plus or minus. It's kind of a plus or minus segment. Who's your player this week that you think is the lock player, whether they're on your team or not, for the week? Who wants to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'll kick it off. So last week, first off, I want to give myself my flowers, because last week I said it was Tucker Kraft who was my plus, and the dude went off. I didn't start him, but
Yeah.
the dude went off.
You got to listen to yourself.
I do listen to myself a little more.
I didn't either. I didn't flex him in that
Yeah.
league that we were talking about that you could have a tight
Look,
end.
I have
at
Brock
flex.
Bowers, so I
Yeah.
didn't start him anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
At least there's wins, right?
I'm going to keep it in the division. I think, and I like my pluses not being the main guys that you probably picked in the first 3 rounds. I like my pluses being guys that you can target in trades or guys that are on the upswing. It's Roma Dunze with the Bears. He's got, I think, 3 touchdowns so far this year. He is Caleb Williams' favorite target, and he's going up against a team that just let the Giants score nearly 40 points. So I think the floor is there. Touchdown potential is clearly there. And I think we're seeing Caleb in Rome, who's in his second year. It's a perfect time to buy a receiver, especially if you're in a dynasty league. Their rookie year is behind them, and they're starting to figure things out. I think Adunze is set up for a very big day against Dallas.
I'm just going to go with a couple of quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson against the Lions because, again, the Lions struggle against those mobile quarterbacks, and he's one of the best to ever do it. And then Josh Allen, I think, is going to bounce back against the Dolphins team that is less than good, below good. And so if I had either of those two quarterbacks on my team, I'd be feeling pretty good about where I am this week just to start because you're going to get a huge number.
I'm going with running back Jordan Mason. He's stepping up for his team, and they're playing the Bengals this week. So I think that's a good play to keep an eye on.
And Jones is out.
Yep, Jones
is out
on the
for
IR.
4 weeks. He's on IR. So I think Jordan Mason is a sneaky good play this week. That's my +1. That's my
Put it up.
plus- that's
There
my
you go.
+1.
All right. Now it's official.
All right, now it's official. All right, let's take a break. We'll take a look at our survivor pool, see how we're all doing, and then take a look at the league and whatever else we have time for. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Fantasy Plus. Jack's texting with Adam Schefter or something. Who knows? We'll see. Survivor pool this week. We all did pretty well. Let's take a look at some of those matchups.
I know I had Cincinnati last week.
Yeah, you
Then I
got bold out
Yeah.
of nowhere.
Bold, and then I got really nervous when Joe Burrow went.
As you should have. I slept soundly as the
Yeah.
Ravens took care of business.
Yeah, Alec, myself, and Phil all had the Ravens, and we all made it through. Jack sweated through the Burrow injury. Laney had the 49ers, and so did Blake, so they both advanced. And then Scott had the Rams that also advanced. So everybody made it through.
Yeah, this is
impressive.
this is a
Strong
safe,
group.
steady survivor pool so far. Watch me be the first guy out, but yeah.
Here's the picks for this week. We got.
I'm on the same page with Jack. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Seahawks against the Saints, which seems to be the play for the week 1 and 2. People are going against the Saints, so I'm gonna do that with Seahawks at home. You guys got the Bills on the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
Are you concerned, Alec, that you've got the same pick as Jack?
That's the only reason I'm concerned. I felt great before,
Week 1 and week 3.
but now all of a sudden I'm looking in the ether here.
It
Hopefully I
worked
get
out
out.
in week 1 with Philadelphia.
It did.
Yeah.
Although that was very close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had some meat sweats.
Yeah, we didn't think that was going to be close, and we don't think this game's going to be close, but we'll see.
And the Seahawks was my other. That was my second choice.
Right.
For this week.
Laney's taking the Texans at the Jaguars.
It's kind of bold.
That is bold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Texans haven't exactly been world beaters here.
At all. And the
Right.
Jags haven't been either, but you
No,
you never know, especially because Jacksonville's at home.
Right.
I don't know. That one is crazy.
Yeah.
Watch that one be a safe 17-point victory and the Bills lose.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think so either.
And then Phil and Scott
Two great picks.
are taking the Packers at the Browns. And then Blake joins me with the Seahawks home against the Saints.
Yeah, I don't see anyone falling apart here. I mean, these are all pretty safe picks. The one that has me a little weary is Laney's pick.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how we do. We'll see
Yeah.
if we can all get through again this
The
week.
other possibility, who are the Jets playing again?
The Jets are playing. Luckily, I have this handy dandy button right here. Jets are playing the Bucks.
Yeah, I think.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Can I make a switch so I'm not on
No,
the same one
it's
as
already
Alec?
it's already on the graphic. We're official.
This is worse actually. I wish you made a switch.
Because I think the Bucks are a pretty safe bet right now.
That feels good
Yeah.
too.
I gave you this pick before I had the information
Yeah.
that
Right.
Fields was
Well,
out.
the Bucks are gonna also play the Saints twice, so you can save them for later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll play. They'll play again. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with an update on the league and more right after this. Welcome back. The league is heating up. We're in week 3, but we got to look back on week 2. We had some big matchups, including this first one. I was able to eke out a win against Jack, less than 2 points.
It's a tough day for Jack when his second best player is his defense.
Yeah, nothing good happened. Nothing. And I looked at the score after that late fumble in the Monday night game. When Hampton fumbled, and I took the lead, but then all of a sudden I lost. So it was a rough day. Nobody's performing when your quarterback doesn't do anything, when your top receivers don't do much.
I went through your roster and I was like, it's actually a good team.
It's not a terrible team.
No, it's fantasy sometimes.
Yeah.
Dan Nichols, photographer Dan Nichols, is 2-0 now after taking out the boss.
You know, I really thought that bench, Brad, I thought that defense you got on your bench could have really helped you there. So sorry to see it happen. That extra kicker really would have helped out.
Yeah.
Taking strays. Brian picks up his first win against Phil. Sorry, Phil. Phil also, the Raiders also lost. But hey, you got Survivor Pool, so you got that going.
I just can't get over the fact you had 2 guys with over 30 points, and I only lost by 2.
Because
Josh
other guys
Allen
with
had
less,
like
yes.
11 points for me.
right.
Come on.
Yeah, they didn't need him. They didn't need him to go off like the first week.
I'm a little nervous about Pacheco. I'm getting absolutely nothing from him.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
That team is always a mess.
Yeah.
All right, Cam's out to a 2-0 start, taking out the champ. Malik Neighbors had that big game, as we talked about that.
Yeah.
Some garbage overtime. Gavin picks up his first win. Laney's now 0-2. Thanks to the Bo Nix bounce back, of course. And then Aubrey kicking big, long field goals as his number 2 scorer of the week. And then at the bottom there, Alec.
Rough go
got
there.
your first
Only
loss
guy
of the
with a
season.
win, but you had the low in the league this week.
I gave the keys to J.J. McCarthy, and he got me 2 points after Brock Purdy went down. I'm in dire need of a quarterback here. We just picked up Aaron Rodgers, gave him the start for week 3. And then Matt Jarowski knows I'm in a spot, desperately needing a quarterback. So he offered me Daniel Jones and Hollywood Brown for Tucker Kraft and Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. So, thanks for that one. That's a great offer. I'm really going to consider that one. But no, our strategy here is just stream until Brock Purdy can give me the safe floor. Because I love the team. I think I have a decently built team. I just need a high floor quarterback I can rely on.
What's the protocol when you get a ridiculous trade offer?
Good question.
I mean, you can't just say no, can you?
A good way to do
Counter?
it, and I debated doing this, was to offer back and be
Counter
like,
offer.
I'll take Lamar Jackson for your kicker.
Yeah.
Let's do a kicker best player swap.
Yeah.
Because I'm not touching that.
I mean, you got to send a message, right? That you didn't appreciate them trying to just fleece you. You're not a complete fool.
If Matt's watched the show, he knows how high Alec is on Tucker Kraft. So
It's my plus.
It's not a realistic trade offer.
He didn't go to Iowa, did he?
No, he didn't.
A tight end that
There are some in
thrives
the
in the
league.
NFL didn't go to Iowa.
Yeah, there are some in the league that aren't Hawkeyes, but some of the best are. It's Hawkeye. It's TEU.
Yeah, that's a selling point.
So after 2 weeks, we're down to 3 undefeated teams.
3 winless teams. And I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Things are starting to shake out there.
Once again, the lone win holder of the sports department. Don't worry, Jack. I'll keep the appearances up for us. I'll keep getting this one win at least.
I'm confident I'll pass you soon.
That might be as early as this coming week.
I'm due. I think Josh Allen's going to have a monster week.
Yeah, I don't know though, because
And I'll be just fine.
don't forget, Brett has a defense and kicker on his bench.
Yeah.
Don't forget that as you guys face off this year.
Oh, I got him this week.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm really confident I'll get a
Right.
win.
Be careful, though. Careful. We don't want to
I know.
waken the beast of the.
I know. I was
boss.
talking trash before week 1, and Phil's failures turned into my failures.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
I'll face Brian this week. We'll see. Jaden Daniels, that might change things for him, but he's got Jaden Daniels and Justin Fields, both of his quarterbacks. We'll see how that goes. And then Phil's taking on the undefeated Dan Nichols pass and TDs team, facing Patrick Mahomes as well, the conference rival that Phil doesn't want to see. Hopefully doesn't happen for him. And then the rest of the week, Cam's going to try to stay undefeated against Laney and her two quarterbacks. Again, this is the platform's projecting the top players, and sometimes the quarterbacks are the top players.
Not for me.
Alec, you got to face the defending champ who's 0-2.
Yeah, one of us has to win. And I know how normally the quarterbacks are the leaders. Not for this team, because all my quarterbacks are hurt.
I'm just stunned that Feisty Kitties are sitting here at 0-2 with Lamar Jackson and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Gibbs hasn't gotten off to that wild start, but
Right. That might be the surprise of the season so far. And then Matt's trying to rack up another win against, this week against Gavin. We'll see Baker Mayfield and Caleb Williams and Daniel Jones. Obviously, he's not starting all three, but probably starting Jones this week. We'll see.
you know, it won't happen this week, but I feel like Dak Prescott's ready for one of those games where he throws like 4 picks and Dallas wants him out of town, but they never have a backup quarterback.
They're playing the
Joe
Bears. I think he's fine.
yeah, it won't happen this
He's
week.
playing a team that's down 2 cornerbacks and has given up, I think, the most air yards, if not up there in the NFL. I think he'll be all right this week.
Last thing, we're going to do our overtime question. What player are you trying to add in every league?
Trying to add in
Trying
every
to
league.
add in every league.
I was like trading for guys
Waivers
too.
or trades, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tucker Kraft might be one of those guys that if you can swing and trade with, you know, maybe you should offer him a kicker and a backup quarterback.
I'll offer better than that.
I would hope so. But yeah, that Tucker Kraft, what we're starting to see with his evolution in Green Bay, and if that quarterback stays healthy, Green Bay's going to be a really tough, I hate to say it, but
Yeah.
really tough out this season.
Cover your ears, Lions fans. I'm going with another Packer, too. Mine's Matthew Golden. I'm going low here in terms of what you can get for him because he hasn't done too much in 2 weeks.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jaden Reed's out probably for the season. At least he broke his collarbone. And this is an offense that seems very good. Seems to be gelling at a really good level. And it's going to be just more opportunities for that rookie who they have legitimate WR1 hopes for to earn a bigger share of targets and earn a bigger responsibility. So Matthew Golden is my guy that you can get without breaking the bank in trying to get, unless you're Matt Jarowski and you want to offer a third-string quarterback for Tucker Kraft.
I also tried to add the Seahawks defense, but either they're taken or people got a higher waiver priority on them. But because they're playing the Saints this week, so
Can we talk about how bad the waiver's been? It's.
Yeah.
I mean, there really hasn't been that Puka Nacua or that I got this guy week 1 and all of a sudden, like maybe Quentin Johnson. He's a boom or bust guy though. You know, I don't know if he'll ever be that true receiver one. Like, it's been dire out there if you're trying to replace a guy.
yeah,
Remember back in the day, probably before you were alive, Alec, Kurt Warner
yeah.
was on waivers near the start of the season. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, where'd this guy come from? And anybody that got Kurt Warner won their league.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long
Where's
time
that
ago.
guy?
That's a long time ago. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Alec. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for being here. Phil, thank you for hanging around and helping us with technical issues. We will see you next time on Fantasy Plus. Thanks for watching.